All right, breaking news. Chief Justice John Roberts is temporarily blocking a district court order requiring that a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador be returned to the U.S. by midnight. So this gives the court more time to consider the issue after the Trump administration requested they intervene. So the legal team for Kilmar Obrego Garcia now has until tomorrow night at 5 to respond. CBS News Department of Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane has been following this case closely. Scott, thanks for joining us. What can we expect in this case?
Well, the Supreme Court's going to hit the snooze button proverbially on this case. Doesn't really change the fundamental dynamics here. They now have until 5 p.m. tomorrow to make their arguments over the matter, but the matter stays the same. A court in Maryland, a federal judge, has ordered the return of Mr. Obrego Garcia by the end of the night tonight. Well, that's now pushed at least through 5 p.m. tomorrow. The Department of Justice has acknowledged it was a mistaken deportation that shouldn't have taken place, but they've made the argument they can't get him from El Salvador because it's now in El Salvador's jurisdiction. The U.S. Supreme Court may hash out some of what comes to them in this. They may kick this back to the federal judge in Greenbelt, Maryland, but for now, the deadlines have been delayed. They have not been canceled.
Yeah, and so many layers to this because now we've learned the Department of Justice lawyer who unsuccessfully argued in defense of Obrego Garcia's deportation was actually placed on leave, administrative leave. So what does that mean? What are those details?
There's already some casualties to these arguments themselves. The person who was in court Friday in Maryland making the argument for the Department of Justice was put on administrative leave, we learned on Saturday. Indefinitely. This is the same attorney who was in court acknowledging that a mistake was made, and the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, didn't think there was a zealous enough argument from the attorney, so he's been benched. There'll likely be a new name on the next set of filings if they come from the U.S. Justice Department, but you can see the stakes in this case, that there's somebody put on leave after a high-profile hearing, that they have let this and challenged this all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. This is now a high-profile legal argument, and to a degree, Jules, it's a game of chicken between the executive branch and the courts. There's a court order there, and the executive branch, the administration, does not seem inclined to want to follow it. What happens next is important not just for Mr. Obrego Garcia, but for cases in which the courts challenge the administration nationwide.
All right, Scott MacFarlane. Scott, thank you so much.